Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
Some more today on this very controversial issue of abortion. And Kameel, as we come to grips with why we hold positions on abortion, whether you're a conservative Christian or whether you've given in to some of the changes that have happened of recent times, when we talk about this issue, sometimes it's a battle for hearts and minds. There's a culture war happening.
Yes, the culture war. This is something we all need to be aware of. And it is changing the face of our society. I might add, not for the better. The culture war has been going on minimum 50 years. Starting in the early 1960s. It could be argued it even started earlier than that. But let's just leave it to the 60s. Now, the 1960s was known as the most violent and rebellious decade, certainly in U.S. history. I know Australia had its own issues, but not only in the U.S., but even in Europe, there were terrible, terrible protests. And there was, in 1968 in France, the student protesting was so violent, they actually thought France was going to fall to the communists. And this, of course, in the middle of the Cold War. So you've got a culture war erupting during the Cold War. Now, a culture war is not fought with guns and bullets and swords, but it is extremely, extremely divisive, and it can be violent in its own way. Let me just put it this way, a real catalog of events. You had the advent of the birth control pill. That was 1960. And all of a sudden, people realized, oh, I don't have to be careful about having sex because I have a pill that will prevent pregnancy. It's funny, the fear of pregnancy kept a lot of single people either from indulging or indulging full-fledged. Then you had, of course, other things, the rise of the feminist movement, kicking God out of the classroom because the Supreme Court ruled that prayer in public schools was unconstitutional. People don't understand what a massive change that brought to America's educational culture when that happened. Also, we had the not only sexual revolution, we had the advent of postmodernism, where truth is relative and tolerance is the new virtue. Not normal tolerance in the dictionary, but a tolerance that basically says there's a variety of views, all of them are equally valid, and how dare you suggest that your view is more important than anybody else's. It's a sort of live and let live, but it's also with fangs. All these things, feminist movement, culture war, which came out of that, rebellious youth, the hippie movement came, the Beatles came, and they also enshrined Eastern religion and hallucinogenic drugs. All of this helped to further detach the Western world from Judeo-Christian foundations.
So this rebellion, Kameel, it wasn't just against the state imposing its laws and values on people, but what it truly was a rebellion against the Judeo-Christian heritage.
It was a rebellion against that, but it was also a rebellion against the free market capitalist system. And a lot of these rebels happened to be Marxist. Even though Marxism wasn't faring very well in the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact, that didn't dissuade them from pushing an ideology that really would, shall we say, undermine the whole basis of Western life in this world.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Kameel Majdali from Teach All Nations. For more from Dr. Majdali, including books and DVDs on prophecy, Bible commentaries, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future, go to vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.